introduced many progressive educational initiatives at these three schools. So I have heard you in the past, and I know that you're full of groundbreaking, path-making ideas. Today's audience is fortunate to be getting this opportunity through Aadharshila Talks to be listening to you. Can you hear me, sir? Your screen seems to have stuck. And I'm not sure if my screen is stuck or yours. Can somebody just help me with it? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I would now like to invite
you. The last part,
So you seem to be having some network issues. The voice breaks and the video also gets stuck.
Just this minute, the electricity has gone off and I'm on a backup internet. I think in a minute or two, it will be okay.
Now it seems to be better, sir. So I now formally invite you to take over. Once again, thank you very much for accepting the invite and for being here as an Aadharshila. Over to you, sir.
Is my internet okay, or should I move back to my first one?
It's fine, sir. It's fine. Okay? Yes.
Thank you so much, Jaya ma'am, for that expanded production as well. I'm generally not used to it. And really looking forward to sharing my learnings in today's session. Let me just take a moment to share my screen.
So is the other regular connection stronger than this one, than your current one? Then I suggest that you switch over to the other one. There seem to be some fluctuations. Also, while presentation, if you prefer keeping the camera off to save the bandwidth, that would be a good idea. Hello.
Okay, is this better now?
Yes, yes. It's better.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen? Just give me a yes, please.
No, not yet.
Okay, one more try.
I was able to see earlier.
Can you see the screen now?
Right, sir. Yes, we can.
Super. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. I think technology does these funny things and, you know, it would break at the last moment. But yes, we are resilient people, so no worries. So, so I think this is a very, very interesting area for me. I've been really working on this for the last many years. And, you know, if I look at the NEP, at the heart of the NEP is creating a love for learning for children, right? So that is at the heart of NEP, and all of us, like in the pandemic, we've been through so many webinars, we've been through so many sessions. Everybody is talking about student engagement. Everybody is talking about student ownership. About student engagement, they're talking about student ownership, they're talking about student agency, and you know, we are trying and finding hundreds and hundreds of ways of how we build all of these things into our daily classroom, right? We're looking at training ourselves for active learning strategies. We're looking at building a lot of collaborative learning, bringing in critical thinking into the classroom. So I really want, that through this session, I want to look at things in a holistic perspective, right? So if there's a company and two senior leaders in a company, both of them are thinking in two different directions. Person one, leader one says everybody go left, and leader two says everybody go right. Do you think, is there any direction the company would move in? I doubt, right?
No.
And a similar thing would happen in our education scenario if we do not look at schooling in its holistic purpose. If we want to bring in, or if we want to build in the student agency, then we really need to look at how we conduct our parent teacher meetings. We cannot just allow student agency to be built in to our regular classroom, but not think about telling in our traditional PTMs, and in our PTMs, telling the parent that this child is not doing this, or so and so child is not able to perform math sums, right? So that really is counterproductive, right? It is counterproductive of the student agency that you want to bring built in to your lessons, the active engagement.
Miss Parita, Parita Pandey, please. Miss Parita Pandey. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Yeah. So that is really counterproductive, and that really acts in the other direction. So the example that I gave you of two business leaders in the same company moving in two separate directions, this actually is the same thing. In the classroom, the teacher is speaking one language, or the teacher is trying to build in the active engagement. But while there's a PTM, we are trying to tell parents what children cannot do, right? So when something like that happens, it is really disturbing for the children. I want you to, okay, before we go there, I'm really I understand that this session that we all of us have together, the 59 of us, I understand that through the 59 of you, I can really impact the future of thousands and thousands of children that will that will come to you with their daily interactions. So I really understand the power of this, and I hope that you take action. Let this not be just a session that acts as food for your mind and thought, but I hope that you take action after this session, right? And if you're already thinking in this direction, then superb, we are on the same page, and maybe you can support me, you can help me with some ideas as well, right? So I want you to think today, and I want you to think when your supervisor told you that, Miss Sunita, you cannot do this, you're not doing this well in your classroom. Or Miss Parita, this is something that you're struggling with. Think of that situation. Put yourself in that situation. I want you to answer, how do you feel when somebody tells you that you're not doing this well? Can you answer in the chat box, what do you feel when somebody tells you that you're not doing this well, or you need to do this better? आप ये अच्छे से नहीं कर पा रहे. What do you feel in that situation?
Those who want to answer can also unmute and speak up.
Yes.
Your active participation will really add value to the session. Participants, please feel free to speak up. How do you feel when your supervisors, your authorities tell you that you are not doing well and you can do better? Okay. I think that was a very thought-provoking question, and the audience is taking time. We have one answer from Miss Hina that sometimes feels bad.
All right, so let's look at what would happen. If somebody tells you that you feel, that you're not doing well, and you would feel bad about it, right? So
Right. I would also like to add. I would like to add. Yeah. So Ms. Deepa says we'll feel bad, but at the same time, I'll find out the way to make it better. Then again, sometimes motivate ourselves to do our best. Little push is required. So yes, I would also like to add to this that I will reflect on where I can improve or what could be the reason. I would also approach in making in getting a clarity on where I couldn't do well and where I could do better, and would also try to upskill and upgrade myself to
yes,
bring it what's necessary.
absolutely. So I was expecting, and so this is what all of us adults do. We reflect, right? We think on our actions. We want to reflect. We want to do better. Especially all of us who is in this teaching field. All of us are really in it to really change the world, right? So we want to do better for our children. So we reflect. We think about our actions, right? But at this age of adolescence, or maybe even younger, children do not have, all of them do not have this skill of reflection. They haven't been taught to reflect. And plus, at this point of time in their lives, there's so much happening within them. There's so much change happening inside their brain. There's so much change happening in their bodies. So they at times fail to reflect. It doesn't mean that they mean otherwise, right? They want to do better, but they fail to reflect. And because of that, there are times when we as teachers, sometimes because it's our duty to share with parents what their children are doing, able to do or not able to do. ये हमारा काम है, because if we don't inform parents timely, we are not doing our role, right? So it's really important for us to inform parents timely what your children are able to do and what they are not able to do. पर हम जब इस टाइप की language, we use this narrative that your child is not able to do this. At a lot of times, sometimes these children hold this in the back of their head that, okay, Iksha ma'am shared this about me in the PTM this way, and I did not like it. And they hold that feeling in their mind, which really hampers our relationship with them. And I'm sure all of you understand how important is relationship, the student and teacher relationship in this learning journey. I'm sure all of us understand that, right? So as we move further, I want to take a second. I want to take a pause and just confirm, can everybody hear me?
So we can hear you.
So I want to take a pause. I'm going to invite two sounds of the bell, and I want that you should focus on your breathing. And while you're breathing, you should know that you're breathing in and out. Try and feel your in breath and try and feel your out breath. Right? Try and recognize कि कौन सी आपकी अंदर वाली सांस है और कौन सी बाहर वाली. So I'm going to invite two bells, and then we will move further from there. All right. So are you with me? Are you in this moment?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do a small visualization. Let's do a small visualization, and I'm going to say a few things, and I want you to visualize. Does everybody know what visualization is? You've got to close your eyes and assume that there's a screen in front of you, and you've got to visualize what I'm trying to say. जो मैं verbal बोल रहा हूँ, आपको उसको visualize करना है अपने mental screen पे, right? And between these visualizations, I will try and invite a couple of bells to help you calm down and think about what I'm trying to say. So just it will be about 2 to 3 minutes of it, but I would like complete attention of 2 to 3 minutes. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, think back of a time when you were in school. Breathing out, imagine on your mental screen as if you're wearing your school uniform. Breathing in, think about the color of the uniform, your friends, your classroom, and your school building. You are now entering your classroom with your parents. Your teacher is seated in front of you. Try and feel that situation. Put yourself again in that situation. You can now open your eyes. Can you name that feeling that you got? Can some of you please in the chat box or unmute and name that feeling that you got? Maybe in a word or 2 words, can you name that feeling? I'm waiting for some responses. Would you like to name that feeling? Okay, nostalgic. I sure had butterflies in my stomach when I reflected and I, went back to that situation. Okay, flashback of school life.
Actually, I could remember and recall certain real things that had happened during that time. What teachers used to say, what I've experienced, and everything just came rushing into the mind.
Right. So it is. I'll share my experience. Let me share my experience. As a student, I was a good student, right? I was always like a 80, 85%er. I used to like studies, some of the subjects at least. But I remember, some of you might relate to this. I remember that whenever it was the days of the PTM, I would always take my parents to those teachers whom I knew would appreciate me, and I would avoid taking them to those teachers whom I knew would really say something bad about me, right? And similar thing, something similar might have happened with you, and even today if you look back at your children in your classroom, you would notice a pattern. You would notice that there are many children who generally would skip the parent teacher meeting days, and it would be though generally it is those children who are not doing so well, or those children whom we are not able to completely support in the classroom, right? So that is something for all of us to really think about. Children avoid a parent teachers meet if they know that my teacher is going to tell something negative about me. They would really avoid, unless and until unless and until you would have a mother like me who was really persistent, that she wants to meet each and every teacher, right? So that is something for all of us to really think about. So what I'm really proposing is, any of you would, have any questions at any point of time, feel free to put it in the chat box. You could also raise your hand and ask, and I'll be happy to take that up, right? So what I'm really proposing is, we look at a three-step process to altering this process of parent teachers meet. We look at a three-step process such that it is in line with what we are doing in our classrooms, right? Such that it is in line with the NEP, wherein we want to create a love for learning. So we look at a three-step process where we've got goal setting at the beginning of the process. Goal setting, to me, is a skill. Goal setting is a skill, something like how we teach English language. Teaching English, allowing children, helping children to speak English is a skill, right? So similarly, goal setting is a skill for me. And goal setting is nothing but, I think, at the heart of the national education policy, because it is really helping children to become self-directed in their learning journey. It is a skill that they learn to become self-directed. And all of us, each one of us, sometime or the other, have done goal setting. All of us have done New Year resolutions, and most of us have failed in those New Year resolutions. We will look at it. We will look at it. Why does that happen, right? We look at that today. The second part of the process is extremely important for me as an educator, because to me, the student-teacher relationship is at the heart of the teaching learning process, right? So the development discussion is a process in which the teacher and the student, both of them, consider each other as equals. The teacher is not above the student, or the student is not below the teacher. Both of them are equals, and they are getting into a scheduled conversation. And this conversation is going to happen such that both of them benefit, and we are able to support the student better. That is the entire purpose of the development discussion. And the third aspect is the student-led parent-teacher conference, and this again is completely built upon the concept of student ownership and and student efficacy. So we are through this process of student-led parent-teacher conference, we can really support the confidence level that every student has. We can really support allowing them to speak up at a public forum, allowing them to speak up in front of 5 people, giving them that platform, giving them that ownership of their own learning journey, giving them the responsibility that you are the ones who are responsible. So this is what student-led parent-teacher conference is all about. And as we move further, I'm going to talk a lot of detail about these 3 steps, and I hope it will help you. And if you've got any questions about any of them, you could have questions about, we've got large class sizes, how does this work? We don't have time, how does this work? This is okay for an IB school, this is okay for a school with 15 students. How do we do this in a CBSE setting? How do we do this in an ICSE setting? Right? So we could have questions like that. Is this implementable, or is it only in the theory that it is good about? So I'm talking from ground, I'm talking from practice. So you could, come to me with any questions. You could put them in the chat box, and I'll be most happy to answer each of your questions, right? Now we're going to further look at each and every process in detail. Now moving ahead, we look at the goal setting process. There's a beautiful, as you read this code, there's a beautiful book that I've gone through. I'm sure some of you would have read this book. This is called Atomic Habits. It is written by James Clear, right? And Atomic Habits is all about the tiny improvements that we do, right? So Atomic Habits, and in Atomic Habits, James Clear shares this beautifully, that if we are able to take 1% gains every day, then at the end of the year, we will be 37.78 times smarter than what I am today. And if we go 1% worse every day, if we are 1 today, we will go close to 0. And this is the entire logic with which the goal setting framework is built. It is really important that we don't just while we are setting goals, the problem with goal setting is we concentrate on the outcome. We concentrate that, okay, if I will lose 15 kilos, I will look smarter, I will look better, I will be able to impress this person. We concentrate on the outcomes. But what is important is we've got to concentrate on the process, and that is where these tiny gains come in. We've got to concentrate on the process. So if you want an outcome of reducing 15 kilos, what is the process that you will put today? आज आप क्या करेंगे? अगर 15 किलो आपको 6 महीने में कम करना है, तो what is it that you will do today? Today you will exercise for 15 minutes. So you've got to concentrate on what is in your hands today and what is not, and forget about the 6 months. भूल जाइए उसके बारे में कि 6 महीने बाद आप 37.78 पे पहुंचेंगे, वो भूल जाइए. आपको तो आज 1 से 1.01 पे पहुंचना है. So 1.01 पे पहुंचने के लिए today you've got to focus on the 15 minutes of exercise. And this is the main reason why most of our New Year resolution fails. Because हम सोचते हैं कि अच्छा 15 किलो जब कम करेंगे तो ये भी खा पाएंगे और ये अच्छे लगेंगे. But we forget on what we need to do today. So that is why in the goal setting process, one of the biggest agendas is the action plan. आपको एक बहुत detailed action plan बनाना है. And how will you know that you've reached your goal? You've got to create a measurable goal. You cannot say that I will work out daily. You cannot say that. I will work out 15 minutes daily at 6 a.m. in my balcony. It's got to be specific. It's got to be measurable. The problem with goals that we set is we do not make it very specific. We do not make it measurable. तो हर बार हर दिन हमारे दिमाग को एक प्रोसेस करना पड़ता है कि आज हमें एक्सरसाइज कहाँ करनी है. तो उस प्रोसेस, वो सोचने के लिए हमारा दिमाग जब मजबूर होता है तो उसको सोचना नहीं है, उसको कम से कम काम करना है। हमारे दिमाग को सबसे कम से कम काम करना है, तो वो उसको प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट करता है, एंड दैट इज वेयर प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन कम्स इन. So when we clearly define our goal that okay, we want to do this is the time we will do it, and this is my action plan, हर दिन मैं ये करूंगा. Once we have that clear cut definition, then our mind does not need to take a decision every day, and that is when we will be able to achieve these tiny gains each and every day, right? Now, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we do it? Why do we do it? Why do we do this goal setting process? Right? So a goal is nothing. A goal is nothing but your dream. You put that dream on paper, you put a date, you make it measurable, and that actually becomes a goal. And once you break your goal down, like I said, if your goal is to lose 15 kilos, and once you break that goal down into daily actions, that becomes your action plan. So if your child's goal is to, become a better reader, if your child's goal is to read 20 books in a year, how would you break it down into an action plan? You would maybe read 1.5 books in a month. You would maybe read 10 pages in a day, right? So you've got to break it down into an action plan. And once you break it down into an action plan, that is when, and you follow that action plan, that is when your goal will actually become a reality, right? So goal setting process is nothing but a careful consideration of what you want to achieve. It is a lot of hard work. It is not easy. But a goal setting process will only and only be successful when you have an action plan, because that is an intrinsic motivator. Those small wins every day, once you have an action plan, and once you know that, okay, you've got to do 15 minutes of exercise every day, or you've got to read 10 pages every day, reading those 10 pages in that day, agar aap usme successful ho jate hain, so that is a small success that you celebrate that day. Jab aap ek din sab success celebrate karte hain and you feel happy about it, next day you want to celebrate that success again, and again more you want to feel happy about it. And that is how you will achieve your larger goal, and your children will achieve their larger goals, right? Goal setting is extremely important, because it will really, again, I will come back to that point wherein your mind does not wants to make less and less decisions every day. Usko bahut sare decisions nahi lene hote hain, उसको कम से कम काम करना होता है. So at the beginning of the year, or maybe at the beginning of the month, or at the beginning of 6 months, if you sit down with a clear mind, right? If you clarify your mind, have a small mindfulness exercise, and you allow the children to chalk out a goal, you allow them time and help them to make an action plan, then they do not, again, I am emphasizing on this, they do not need to make daily decisions. They have it chalked out for them with clear-cut detail. And once they have it chalked out for them with clear-cut clarity, they will want to do that. And they will not procrastinate. By goal setting, if you've heard of this matrix called things that are important and urgent. Now, there's something that is very, very important and very, very urgent. Naturally, we will address to that. हम उसको पहले करना चाहेंगे. And if there is something that is not so important and not so urgent, हम उसको last में करना चाहेंगे. Now, but if there is something which is important but not urgent, and there is something which is which is not important but urgent. Now, this is where goal setting comes in. आपको हर दिन ये decisions नहीं लेने हैं. गोल सेटिंग आपके लिए एक लॉन्ग टर्म एक्शन प्लान बनाता है, जिससे कि आपको एवरीडे के इन डिसीजंस में नहीं जाने की जरूरत पड़े. एंड दीज डिसीजंस आर मेड फॉर यू थ्रू द एक्शन प्लान दैट यू हैव ऑलरेडी सेट आउट फॉर योरसेल्फ, और द चाइल्ड हैज ऑलरेडी सेट आउट फॉर हिमसेल्फ और हरसेल्फ, राइट? So goal setting is a skill it's a life skill that we are equipping children with. It is a great opportunity for the teacher to cater to every child in their classroom, because that's a document that every child has to fill up. It is a great opportunity for every child to realize his or her potential. And in the learning journey, it is, it is a need of every child to feel empowered in the classroom. उसको अपने क्लास में लगे कि हाँ मेरी बात सुनी जा रही है. Goal setting is a step towards empowering children what they want to do in school. Goal setting is a process towards empowering them about what they want their learning journey to look like. So it is extremely, extremely important, and it's a very, very powerful tool to boost their intrinsic motivation also. Right, so I'll skip through this. So this is a great framework to look at goal settings. You've got to know what do you want to do, what is your ultimate aim. That once you put it on paper, it would really become your goal. For every child, you've got to ask the right questions for helping them to reflect, and that is how they will understand where they currently are. वो अभी कहाँ पर हैं? And then they will make an action plan to have a path from where they are to where they want to go, which is their goal. Right? Now, within this goal setting framework, what is extremely important is we equip children by asking these questions that tomorrow, son, if you get stuck up, which are the people whom you can reach out to? We should help them answer these questions beforehand. They can reach out to their parents, they can reach out to their friends. They should be able to think about them. They should be able to identify, okay, in my parents, I can reach out to my father for maths. I can reach out to my mother for science. I can reach out to my friends if I have to ask a doubt about French, right? So it's really important that they answer these questions such that unko daily mein ye decisions kam se kam lene pade. Because in the daily life, there is so much happening. There is so much happening for children. There's so much happening for all of us as teachers कि हम अपनी mundane life में भूल जाते हैं larger things को. We are lost in our mundane life, and a lot of things we are just doing mechanically, right? So it is really important that we take time. We take time to sit down and set our goals, make our action plan, think about what are the resources I have when I'm struggling. Think about who are the people who can support us when I'm struggling. Think about what I can do. Whom should I approach when I'm struggling? So once the children have thought about those things in the beginning of the year, or maybe in the beginning of the goal setting process, it will really become easy for them to act, because that thought process has already happened, and thinking is the biggest role. Right? So think about most of us are teachers here. What is the more tedious job? Is lesson planning more tedious, or going and executing the lesson more tedious? Anybody? What is more tedious? Lesson planning is more tedious, or executing
Going
the
and
lesson?
executing lesson plan in the classroom.
It's executing.
Okay, where do you spend more time? Lesson planning or execution?
Planning.
And where do you procrastinate? Planning or execution? Okay, so I believe, so yes, so because generally the planning process is when your brain is really struggling. That is exercise for your brain. The thinking, when you're thinking, that is actually exercise for your brain. When you're doing weights, it is exercise for your muscles. But when you're thinking, that is exercise for your brain. So your brain really wants to procrastinate and push it to the side as much as possible. And that is why it is good if we ask the right questions to the children in the beginning, in the goal setting process, such that उनके पास रेडी आंसर है. कल के दिन मैं स्ट्रगल कर रहा हूं तो मुझे इस पर्सन के पास जाना है. उन्होंने ये सोचा हुआ है अपने दिमाग में. So it will become easier for them to approach that person, right? It will become easier for them. You've already also set guidelines that if you're struggling, you can approach these friends. You can approach me as a teacher, right? So that is really, really important. Okay, I'll skip this and I'm going to come to the next part of this. So again, goal setting is about giving ownership, giving a lot of transferring that responsibility to the student. It is all about, also bringing in and celebrating every child's individualized needs as well. It is about personalizing every child's learning journeys as well. right? A lot of times, children would come up with very creative goals, and we find that we don't have time within the school space to do it. But a lot of every class, if there's a 40-minute class and you've got a task for children, you would always find that there are some children who would finish that task up. Goal setting can also act as anchor projects throughout the year. Goal setting is a great way to look at anchor projects, right, throughout the year, which engages children to think beyond and think creatively and think critically, right? Now, coming to the second, okay, so we'll just take a quick pause for a minute. Any questions about goal setting? Anything would you like to share about the goal setting, what that I've shared? It will become easy for me if I understand that, yes, otherwise I'm just doing the talking.
The participants, please get actively involved. I'm sure you are thinking, but you need to also let the speaker know that you are there. So I think you need to prod a little more. Please ask again.
All right. So if goals are not for academics, then what happens? All right. All right. So if goals are not for academics, like I said, I will definitely hit that up. I think that's a great question. I will hit that up within the development discussion as well. This is where non-academic goals will come into play. The development discussion that you have, it will come into play there. And a lot of times you will notice that if there are some creative goals, some goals related to reading, some goals related to arts and craft, that is when you can make those goals as anchor projects throughout the year. I believe some of you know about anchor projects. Anchor projects are projects that children do throughout the year, and they are essentially projects in which are passion projects. These are projects which children do once they finish their classwork 20 minutes early. These are projects that children do within the class when they finished 15 minutes early, when when there's a substitution period. So this is for engagement of children. These are projects that children take up throughout the year. It's a very long project, and the project is actually guided through intrinsic motivation of the child. Nobody needs to push. Like for me, if you tell me that come and speak to 100 teachers, that is intrinsic motivation for me, right? Because I really want to impact education. I really want to support students with whatever. So similarly for all of you, most of you, there will be something or the other that you would do without even getting paid even 1 rupee, right? That is your passion. If you want to do something, even if you're not getting paid, that is your passion, right? So that is something that even children will identify, and that will become their anchor projects throughout the year, right? So let's move to the second phase of things, which is development discussion. Now here, what happens that whenever a teacher with experience, it might not be true in your case, but my experience as an educator has been that generally when a teacher and a student comes into a discussion, the teacher generally takes higher ground and the student is always the person who is listening. We've got to change that narrative. We've got to make sure that both these people are at an equal level. Both of them are equal individuals, at least for those 15 minutes, at least for those 20 minutes in which the development discussion is going on. It's really important that we do not have any biases while we get into these development discussions. It's really important that we have a narrative that, Arav, I see that in your class, you are able to do these things, but you're struggling with this. How can I help you? Am I right with understanding that you're struggling with this? How can I help you? I would like to help you. What should I do to help you? Right? So that is extremely important, that it is more of a listening journey rather than always advocating journey, right? So that is an essential part of doing development discussions well. Development discussions are a great forum wherein you are asking children the right questions. You're not saying that you're not doing this well, but rather asking that, you were struggling on that day. Did I notice it correctly? You were struggling, you did not, I thought you did not bring in the textbook. Am I right with that presumption? Is there something that happened at home because of which you did not, you did not bring that textbook? Did something happen with your textbook for with which you could not bring that textbook into the class? Would you like to share something that I don't know? Right? So it's really important that the discussion is at equal grounds, and we are not getting into the discussion with prejudgments. We are not getting into the discussion that, okay, Arav is like that and he always does this. We are not getting into the discussion with that. Also, development discussion is a time wherein you can go back and think upon and reflect upon with the child on the goals that they have set, on the academic and the non-academic goals that they've set. So if your child, if a child has set some non-academic goals about singing, about dancing, then you could ask the right questions. You could ask, and while they're setting those non-academic goals, that's a great opportunity for relationship building. That's a great opportunity for telling them that, I see that you've set up a goal in singing. I would love to, put a recommendation to the school choir for you. How, what would you like to get into the English choir, or would you like to get into the Hindi choir, or if there's some other forum in your school? So it's really a great opportunity for you. The development discussion is a superb opportunity for you to build up strong relationship with children. In my school, we also have a know your student form in the beginning of the year, right? So we give them certain questions, and we want to know which is their favorite food. We want to know which is their favorite movie. And we use those triggers to really ask them the right questions such that we are able to develop that bonding. We are able to understand children better. We are able to develop that bond with children better. Sometimes I've also seen that, if you know that, okay, that child carries a really nice pen, you could just ask for advice, especially in the adolescents. You could ask for advice. I loved your pen. My son also wants to buy a new pen. Can you tell me where you bought it from? I would really like to buy the same pen for my son. Right? Asking for advice is a great tool for great relationship builder as well, especially with young adolescents, young adults, students in 11th and 12th, 6th to 8th. Superb. Even grades 3 to 5, it will really get you going with the children. They'll really want to build a very strong relationship with you, right? So what is development discussion in its real sense? It is to identify what your students want to achieve, help them realize their full potential, and grow as an independent individual. A development discussion is a discussion between a student and his or her educator for the purpose of helping him or her develop to his or her optimal capability over time. A development discussion does not just happen once a year or twice a year. It's an ongoing process, right? It is a process that happens regularly, and it is a process. The purpose of the process is to push the child further. To push the child further in the learning journey. A lot of times in the development discussion, it is the teacher and the parent. Sorry, it is the teacher and the students. I am a strong advocate that we should also avoid parents to be a part of the development discussion, because as a society, the norm is that parents and teacher, as parents, a lot of us just start blaming the child that he's not doing this, he's not doing this, he's not doing this. That really causes children to move in a shell, and that is not what we want, because that is really harmful for our relationship with the children. That is really harmful, because if we have a bad relationship with children today or tomorrow, or maybe 4 months down the line, it will come back biting us. We will not be able to cater to them. If you have a bad relationship with your children, आपके classroom cannot be a good, happy, enjoyable classroom. You have to invest in strong and positive relationship with your children. So I've got about 9 minutes, and I'll quickly cover the last part of this, which is the student led parent-teacher conference. The purpose of development discussion is again to bring in a lot of student ownership, to give them the responsibility, to tell them that okay, you are the boss of your learning, to tell them that I am there to support you. I am the facilitator on the side, and I am your anchor. But काम आपको करना है. मैं आपको पूरी तरीके से सपोर्ट कर सकता हूं, कर सकती हूं, बट काम आपको पूरा करना है. That is the narrative that you've got to get into while you are into a development discussion. And the student-led parent-teacher conference, like the image that you see on the slide, is that the child is at the heart of things. The child is something. The child is the person who is identifying that So this is the place where the entire narrative really changes. Now, the teacher is not saying that the child is able to do this and the child is not able to do this. Teacher ye kaam nahi kar raha hai. Teacher is not doing the dirty job. The child himself is doing the dirty job, right? The child is identifying that Papa, Mummy, teacher, in the last 3 months, we've gone through all of these things. This is my portfolio. We've gone through all of these things in the classroom. This I am really confident about, and I can absolutely teach it to a peer as well. This I can do it, but there are certain times where I'm struggling in these situations, and this I am completely struggling, and I need to put more effort into this, right? So it's really important that teachers help children, especially in the elementary classes, grades 3, 4, 5. Teachers should help children prepare for these student-led parent-teacher conferences. Teachers should maybe give them some guiding questions to prepare. So ask them the right questions. What are you able to do well? In the last 3 months, which are the topics which you've completely understood? Let them write an essay before they get into a student-led parent-teacher conference. Let that essay be the guide within that, help. Let the children read through the essay because they have written the essay. Let them read through the essay in the conference, right? So that really changes. Because as a teacher, it is extremely important for us to inform parents timely on the progress of the child. So you've got to tell the parents कि बच्चा क्या कर पा रहा है, क्या नहीं कर पा रहा है. But you don't want to be the dirty person, right? You don't want to be telling and spoiling your relationship with students कि ये नहीं कर पा रहा है. So why not ask the right questions to the children such that they will only share what they can do and what they cannot do. And again, I'll come back to the NEP document. At the heart of NEP is self-assessment. The student should be able to reflect on their learning journeys. The student should be able to self-assess where they are in their learning journey. And student-led parent-teacher conference is nothing but self-assessment. It is a tool to help children self-assess their learning journeys. And through this process of goal setting, DD, and student-led parent-teacher conference, I am sure if it is done in the right spirit, you will be able to induce that love for learning, and all of us will be able to create that alignment that we're looking for. Our classroom will allow for student agency. Our classroom will be a space where there's student ownership, as well as when we have these meetings. And let our parent-teacher meetings not become a hurdle, or let our parent-teacher meetings not become a meeting in another direction, right? Which is counterproductive. Yeah, so I've covered quite a bit in the last, I think 45 minutes. And I hope this was useful. I hope this allows you to take action. If you're looking for intrinsic details of these things, I'll be happy to help.
Yes, sir, rightly said. In these 45-50 minutes, there was a lot of information which can actually transform the way we connect with our students and also build relationship with parents, at the same time ensuring that the child who's at the center of everything that we are doing in the school becomes more confident. Most importantly, takes responsibility for his own learning. Like you said, the agency is very important. We can't expect in today's time to develop responsible children by spoon feeding. but it is by making them conscious and mindful. I also liked how you used the method of mindfulness and took us to our school days, but the way you created it with the sound, with complete calmness, with right directions, I think that by itself also is an example of how teachers can use this method to connect with their children in a very calm and very honest way, because once your mind becomes calm and peaceful, there is transparency, and teacher students relationship builds stronger when there is transparency. I think it's all about using those same opportunities within our classrooms in a different way. It's just that we have to get out of the traditional role, as you have again and again mentioned, that it need not be done in this particular way, but giving the agency to the child. I'm sure the participants are in a reflective mode at the moment. Mr. Rajgarhia, this was a treasure of ideas, and the way you have spoken in such a lucid manner, it made a lot of sense. Thank you very much for this 1 hour of innovative practices and ideas that you have brought to us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope this was useful, and I hope we look at. I think it is just about changing the narrative. It is just about the story that we share with children, right? It is all about that.
Well said, sir. Yes, and in fact, it's the setting remains the same. Everything remains the same. It's just somewhere switching the roles, or there is a little modification in the narrative, as said.
Yes. I think all of us need to embrace the growth mindset as progressive educators, and we need to really reflect. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was really a pleasure to share on this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. And we look forward to your continued guidance, mentorship, association with you. Here is a small video of gratitude from Ramratna International School family for you. We also send you warm wishes for DPS success.
I would love to visit the school someday. I'm really inspired with your breakfast mornings.
You're most welcome, sir. So one day when you visit, I'll have the breakfast with the students in your presence. We all will have it together. So you would really, feel that experience. It's the most magical experience. The best part.
We've started using the Aadharshila talks, the YouTube channel, to really get our teachers on a lot of learning. So thank you for the great work that you're doing, getting educators on this platform. Thank you
so much. It's all because of educators like yourself who have been kind enough to come and share their wealth of experience and learning and ideas with all of us. We are really glad that Aadharshila could become that platform where educators from all over the country, speakers all over the world have come together. So thank you. Within 1 hour, we were able to wrap up the session with a lot of takeaways. Thanks to you. Very well managed time. A display of great time management on your part, sir. Thank you very much. All the participants, see you for the next 96th Aadharshila talk. Take care of yourselves. Have a great evening ahead. Mr. Rajgarhia, wish you all the best. Thanks to all the teachers of DPS who have been regularly attending our Google Meets, Aadharshila Google Meets. Thanks to all of you, all the participants. Bye-bye. And namaste to all of you.